Welcome to Blaise the Trail podcast, bringing you authentic and vulnerable stories that will inspire you to breathe fire on this world and become your own hero. Here's your host, Blaise Hunter.
Hello, welcome to Blaise the Trail podcast. I'm Blaise Hunter, and I am a fertility expert. No, I don't help people get pregnant. This is a different type of expertise. I actually inspire women to birth confidence, to birth their books and business ideas, dreams, passions, and goals, as well as help them discover peace amongst infertility. After going through my own sets of traumas and tragedies, dealing with a rare disease, and experiencing 3 miscarriages, I decided to take charge of my life and not let life happen to me, but rather become the hero of my own life. I am not barren. I continually birth my purpose every day. So that's why I've created this show, to demonstrate how even though we all experience setbacks and disappointments, we still have a destiny to birth. We just need to blaze the trail and be expecting. This podcast will inspire you to lean into your hardships and allow them to become the vehicle that transports you into becoming the hero of your life so you can breathe fire on this world. This week's episode is called Sorrow into Song, and some points we'll cover are how to take setbacks and hardships and turn it into our own inspiring song. We will learn about an incredible woman who will demonstrate vulnerability is powerful, how recalculating the route is essential in our story of our lives, and how to be contagious, not competitive. And I have my friend Amy Scruggs here to speak on this topic. Amy is a national recording artist who got her start in country music. After years of performing with local musicians, she started her own band and began her nationwide tour on the country music circuit. From 2004 to 2012, she opened for country music greats like Trace Atkins, Clint Black, Charlie Daniels, and many more. Today, Amy has transitioned into an accomplished jazz vocalist and pianist with recent openings for Tony Orlando, Chubby Checker, and Frankie Avalon. Amy has been captivating audiences with her powerful vocals and exquisite style as she possesses a charm and grace reminiscent of the golden age of Hollywood. As a motivational speaker, Amy continues to travel across the U.S. using examples from her own life struggles to help empower and uplift audiences to achieve their goals. Amy uses her recalculating route anecdotes as a strategy for audiences to continue to reach for their dreams, even when life places obstacles along the way. Amy is the current co-host for the national TV show The American Dream, now airing in 30 U.S. cities. Throughout her career, Amy has been honored to be chosen to sing the national anthem at many major league sporting events and military ceremonies. Amy is married with 6 children and enjoys an active San Diego lifestyle. Welcome, Amy, to the show.
Wow, now I'm just tired. It's so great to be with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show and agreeing to speak with me and just have a really open conversation about leaning into our struggles and birthing purpose in our lives.
There is no other way to live but to really understand that to the core of really birthing our purpose. And it's interesting to hear the introduction, to go, okay, well, that's just exhausting. I joke with my friends, I'm just Amy. And I hope that through this time of our time together today, that you'll be like, that was just Amy. And that you will feel like you're personally connected to me and that there's something relatable in my experiences that maybe everyone has experienced or gone through to some degree in their own story. And it really, hopefully, will connect us all.
That's awesome. And yeah, it's not like, wow, look at this bio and she's so amazing and I can't even hold a candle to that. It's about, being real and saying, you know what, I've had the same problems and same kind of struggles as everybody else, but I'm choosing to be the hero of my life, and hopefully that empowers somebody else to take the reins and birth something amazing in their life and be fertile. And you're not just Amy, you're a warrior. And you know what, that's what we all lack in our life, is we don't realize that we are amazing warriors, and we just need to celebrate that and inspire ourselves and hopefully make a deep impact on the world to inspire them to take the reins and birth their purpose as well. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had someone say to me, and this wasn't recent, it was a while back, and that just said, wow, it seems like your life has been a series of tragedies. I said, no, quite opposite. I think I'm a series of victories. Mm-hmm. And I hope that that's what everybody sees, and especially my children. So I couldn't agree more with you.
Yeah. And you know what, just like you said there, it's not a series of disappointments, right? Like our biography doesn't determine our destiny, but it sure can empower us to be the best and most fiercest person of the world and be the best versions of ourselves, and just draw on that and let it become something amazing. It is not our faults and our flaws that define us. It's what we do with them, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And how we treat others and how we see it. And those moments alone, I think, during times of difficulty or where you're trying to find that endurance to press on, I feel like my biggest accomplishments are the moments I've had by myself that say, no, get up, Scruggs, you got this. What the rest of the world sees or what the biography is just the result of those private moments that I feel were the success, because I had to make a choice to keep pressing through. I had to make a choice to believe in myself enough to say, no, we're going to come out of this. We're going to come out of this strong. And that strength is in the perseverance, not in the outcome.
Yes, so true. Thank you so much for that. That's amazing. So you've touched on a little bit of all the successes and the amazing things you've done with your music career. Maybe just tell us a little bit more of how you developed a passion for music so early on and how you ended up where you are today with all of those amazing accomplishments.
Well, I'll narrow it down to the Cliff Note versions, which is a little bit fun, but the music part and the passion, I was born with it. My parents found me at 3 years old playing the piano at someone's house by ear. And they're like, oh, okay, well, maybe she wants music. So there was something in there that was already trying to come out of me before I could even communicate. I started, singing in my room and to myself, and started singing at church and the choir, and always just loved, if I wasn't doing music, I was happy. And there was something in me. And also the same girl that all through school was always in trouble for talking too much. Well, I talk for a living now. So I always say, that the signs were there that I wanted to talk and do music. And everything that is in my life now, what I do is I talk and I do music. And so I think that it was already instinctively in there. And we'll touch more on some of the journey, I think, through this time together, but it was a constant leading that direction. And I took opportunities throughout my life. I had 3 kids very young. My first 3, I was in my early 20s. And then when I stepped into the business world, because I needed to make a living and do what I was doing, I was still always doing music on the side. I was always performing, locally or in concerts in the park and cover bands and things that I could still keep the passion going. But I always knew that I had to get those business skills and I needed to survive. And so I think survival was always on the forefront of providing, at the same time that the passion had to be there. And it was a constant ebb and flow between the two. And the one thing that I love that I always talk about with music, when they call it music business, it's called music business for a reason. You still have to have the business skills. And so I did realize early on, if I ever wanted to do music seriously in any capacity, I needed to understand business. And I'm very grateful for my time in the mortgage industry in the early 2000s and the mentors that I had that taught me how to go out and ask for the business, taught me how to succeed and fail, how to do it, with eloquence, how to be articulate. There was so much that took place for me, I think, in my late 20s and early 30s that really set that foundation for being able to do both and understanding how both intertwine while still, again, providing for a lot of little mouths to feed. It was always, making sure that their needs were met. And in 2008, we had a financial crisis, as we all experienced, and I was in the mortgage industry. We got hit the hardest with the real estate industry. So the career that I had that was providing disappeared, and it disappeared overnight. And it disappeared at the same time I was recovering from a full hysterectomy. After having 4 C-sections, by then I had 4 kids, 4 C-sections, and a lot of complications from those C-sections, I had a complete hysterectomy. And so now my body is in bad shape. The mortgage industry has disappeared and my income has disappeared. But my passion and my talent was still there. Who I am was still there. What I'm capable of was still there. And so I made the decision to take the skills and the passion and the desire to live and get past these obstacles, and I put it into the music business. And I went out and asked for the business. And 6 months later, I opened for Clint Black on a national stage on the 4th of July in Camp Verde, Arizona. And that's where I knew I could do this. I just need to go ask for the business. And that started that journey of my music career, my touring, being full-time, which I ended up doing with 4 kids in tow. And
wow.
After a couple of years my oldest son started helping with the band at 16, 17. I mean, everybody had a job. Everybody had something to do in this. And then he was very talented, so had taught himself guitar at 13. And he was watching the other guys and learning and being a guitar tech and loading the gear and helping drive the truck by the time he was 18. And shortly after that, we moved him up, and he ended up becoming my lead guitar player, writing all my music and sharing national stages with me. And he just turned 29 this week. And we've had incredible life experience together that I would have never dreamed when he was 13 and picked up a guitar, that was his destiny and purpose with me, that my music career had to wait. My time in that had to wait for him to be ready. I didn't see that when I was younger, that there was some beautiful moving components that took place, and I see it now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because sometimes we don't see the bigger picture of what you're going through might be the pathway for your next generation to go further and deeper than you, and you're birthing that legacy as well, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was so much about, my passion for music or what that became that ended up becoming such a big part of who I was as a mother, what I was able to bring my kids to do, the military and veteran events that we got to share together, was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. The touring together, I wouldn't change for anything in the world because we did it as a family, and it was really special.
Oh, fabulous. I read in your bio there and looking at your website and different articles about you that you overcame tremendous obstacles in your life. And let's discuss that a little bit of sharing and diving deeper into hardships and how they've impacted your life. And, I'm very honest that I've been through a rare autoimmune disease. I've battled 3 different miscarriages, life, threatening things that have happened to me that I should have died so many times. I've gone through mental health in my family. My dad faked his own death due to a mental breakdown, and we all need to focus on those hardships instead of becoming the tragedy. Let them become your victory, like you said earlier. So I just wanted to really open that door for us to have that conversation about honesty and the different hardships we've been through and how that actually becomes the pathway to your purpose is those hardships.
Absolutely.
Like let the pain become your pearl, right?
Well, I to be candid and understand that things that I share, the hardships, like with what you're doing, are not saying what's right for anybody else, or there's no political statement, there's no anything. It's just, this is my story, this is what happened. And it did start with that oldest son, Ryan. I was 18 years old when I got pregnant with him, and it was from an extremely abusive relationship. I was scared for my life, and so I decided that person did not need to know I was pregnant in order to protect myself. But my family at the time thought that it was best if I was no longer pregnant, and made a decision that maybe we needed to, just terminate this pregnancy so I could go on and start my life. And I was the next to go into the operating room. I had already signed the papers. I had, made the decision, and they came out and said that I wasn't pregnant. My urine test had showed that I was not pregnant, and they sent me home. Well, I was, in fact, 10 weeks pregnant. Ryan was saved that day because there's a purpose on his life. And so I went home and realized I'm going to have this baby. And so I made the decision to have him alone at that time. And so I think back, 29 years ago this week was when that started. Here I was, an 18-year-old kid, and it was he and I was like, okay, let's take a look. Let's face this world together. And then again, now as I shared, fast forwarding how he has shared national stages with me, you can kind of piece that together in your mind of, wow, there was a purpose and a plan for that kid. What looked like a hardship for me, and at the time of like, how am I going to face this? How am I going to support us? What's my life going to look like? There was already a plan there, and I needed to just walk through that. Fast forwarding now to after my 4th child, and the 4 C-sections that were horrendous. The 3 C-sections were hard enough. The 4th was really, that maybe should not have taken place. The body is not supposed to go through that. And I had such tremendous scar tissue and adhesions from the 4 C-sections combined that my insides were completely mangled. I had tumors, and it was going to be a very complicated surgery to undo what had taken place. My daughter was 18 months at that point. And And so they had to go in and do all of that. And it was a long, painful surgery and recovery. And again, my job disappeared while I'm recovering from that. And that was scary. I had my health, but then I got a second chance at the health. Like, okay, am I going to recover? I'm going to be okay. But now how are we going to make a living? How am I going to feed? How am I going to support them? And that's when that decision was, okay, we're going to put it all into the music. And I looked like a crazy person to everybody around me. What are you doing? You need to go find, I was told so many times to go find a real job. I can't even tell you how many times I've been told, go find a real job. I had one family member say, why don't you go back to waiting tables and do what you know? I was told everything contrary to the passion and dream that I was following that said, no, I'm smart. I can do this. I was able to succeed in the other businesses and the other things that I've done. This is no different. You just got to put together a business plan and a game plan. And so to go out there and do that was hard work. I mean, we had amazing moments on some of the big stages and some great times, but it was tremendously difficult to be the one in charge. I was a one-man show. I was my own manager, my own agent. I had the kids, and we were doing it. That's what fed us. It was unbelievable. Fast forward then to 2011, the recession is still taking place. The industry hadn't picked back up yet. We were doing the best we could to make ends meet, but the end result being that we could no longer hold on to our home. And I lost my home. And a month later, I lost my contract with Ambeck, but I was their spokesperson. And then a month later, our bass player and dear friend and support for my kids, he was 40. He died of a heart attack. So I had a trifecta kind of take place in 2011 that we lost everything. I mean, literally everything I had, our clothes, and said, now what? How did I go from having a home and all these things? I've been able to keep this together for so long. But the industry, the economy, what we're trying to do, it just wasn't enough. There wasn't enough coming in to hold it together. And I didn't have the resources. I didn't have private investors. I wasn't on a music label. We were out serving the military and veterans. We were out doing shows. We were doing everything we could to stay afloat. It just wasn't enough. And I remember the day that I handed the keys to my house back to the bank, standing there looking at an empty house with everything gone, everything just gone, and watching us just kind of get torn apart. I know for my older boys that that's still a critical moment that they will never forget, that they still live with. And I was at that point where you go, you know what? We can do it again. What gets torn down can get rebuilt. It's the skills within me. It's the survivor in me. I can always rebuild. It's just stuff. It's just stuff. Let me not lose my hope. Let me not lose my passion. Let me not lose who I am in the midst of this. And there's that grieving point that you kind of walk through it. And I knew when I needed to pull back and walk through that. And so I took a job back in the industry, in the mortgage industry, but on the escrow side this time. I took a pretty low-paying job to get my foot back in the door, to start over. And I pulled the plug on music for a while because we had lost Fred. There was just, I said, I need a break. I need to grieve. I need a break, and I need to rebuild. I need to put the oxygen mask on. And I remember the first day of that new job. I relocated, and I remember feeling such a peace that was, you put the same effort into what you did with everything else and watch what's about to happen for you. Just because it may look hopeless at that moment doesn't mean it's not part of the plan, doesn't mean it's not part of the story, and doesn't mean I can't do it again, but better, maybe with more purpose, maybe in the right direction. Maybe something has to be completely torn down for the right rebuild. Kind of like rehabbing a beautiful home, right? Sometimes it's got to come down, to the structure and be rebuilt, and I believe that that's what happened in 2011. And I was still healthy. I was doing okay then, and was able to start over. And fast forward, by 2017, I'm the host of a national TV show, and doors opened, and things have been more amazing and more opportunity and incredible people coming in my life than I could have ever visioned. And I'm so, so, so grateful. But at the same time, also by 2017, my health deteriorated again, and the adhesions and the problems that I had from those C-sections and then from the hysterectomy came back, and it came back even worse. And so now my body has slowly, I don't want to say deteriorating, but my insides are basically glued together to where I can't really live off of food. I can have scrambled eggs, mostly liquids, but my body cannot digest or process food. My organs are glued together on the inside. It feels like somebody poured concrete into my abdomen. I can't walk like I used to be able to walk. I'm not as mobile as I used to be. It's tremendously painful. And because I've already had too many surgeries, I am inoperable now. It's incurable. There's nothing you can do for adhesions. It's scar tissue. It's like internal concrete. And the only way to get rid of them is surgery, and surgery is what causes them, so it's a cyclical problem. So now I live with daily living with this. All right, what does this look like? How do I not wear this? How do I not walk around where people know, oh, I'm in pain. Oh, I'm not well. And people go, how do you do it? How do you not eat? I'm like, oh, I haven't had a normal meal now in 3 years. But how do you do anything? You find a place inside you that says, okay, I'm going to recalculate route. I'm going to learn that I'm not going to crave those foods. I'm going to crave the things that I can have. I'm going to crave the eggs. I'm going to crave the liquid nutrients. I'm going to crave those the same way I used to crave a cheeseburger or whatever, I wanted to have, or a pizza, a sandwich. I'm going to crave those. And then what I'm going to do is recreate myself to crave other things. I'm going to crave helping people. I'm going to create empowering others. I'm going to create being the best mom that I can be. I'm going to create being the best wife or the best, daughter to my family. I'm going to create being the best I can in my career. Those will be my cravings instead of food. And it was a recalculating of how I even see my daily living so that I can keep my joy and my passion and keep moving forward. And that's where I'm at now.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That is a lot. And you've been through a lot. And I could see how many people in our society is trained to look at the tragedy and the negative. But as you're saying the story and all the things that you've been through, that you've overcame them. And I think that is the hero of the story right now, is that you are so strong. And everybody has that capability to be resilient and draw in all the pain and let it become such a strength, an inner strength, a survival and thriving mentality. And that brings me to the analogy of just the tree, because we always want the sunshine to grow the tree, the environment to grow the tree, but the tree doesn't grow roots unless you have the storm. And that's the only way you can develop true inner strength and grit for your life, if you develop those roots amongst those tragedies and those storms. So like, I sit here in awe thinking of all the things you've been through right now, but I see like, wow, she is a pillar of strength because you've overcame them. Like, yes, you're still dealing with your health, but you're still here. And I think that's the whole point of my podcast and my work, is that let's not do away and mask our problems. Let it be known, because, hey, I'm still here and they can't take my joy and my peace in my life, right?
Right. That's exactly it. I take a look at anything, even sometimes on a daily basis, and go, well, what's the choice? What's the alternative? Okay, I have a choice today. Like, let's say I'm having an off day or I'm in pain. Well, I can lay down and say I'm in pain and I just be in pain all day, or I can be in pain and still do something positive, because I'm going to be in pain either way. So, all right, let's check that box. We've accepted that. This is going to hurt today. Great. But what can I do while it's hurting? Do I sit and focus on the hurt? Do I do something that I enjoy? And sometimes that might just be playing a game of Trivial Pursuit with my daughter that took my mind off it. It was a joy and it's laughter, or, connecting with a friend, or, putting a really powerful day into my business and working on my coaching business. And, like today, doing this wonderful podcast with you. What a great thing. Doesn't matter how my body is feeling today, because right now I'm so focused that we're together and we're empowering others right now and we're talking about this. So it's what is the alternative? And so I look at things almost like it's a path I can choose every day, even in the midst of the circumstance.
I often talk about no grit, no pearl. And it is a choice, because you could look at the grit and be like, why me? And I've done this. I was in that mind frame for a long time, depressive, like, why me? Why all of these things that I'm dealing with as the next person I see, like, life is good and everything works out for them. And I had to get over that, because that wasn't doing me any good. And it is a choice, like you said. What other choice do you have? Either you lean into the pain and let it overtake you, or lean into it and let it become your pearl. Just like an oyster, that little grit, that parasite that comes in is meant to attack. And that oyster draws it in on a liquid and coats it and coats it and coats it. And it's something there to attack them and end them. And then poof, they make it a pearl. that is such an inspiring story for me, that like something that was meant to harm you, you drew it in. You didn't mask it. You didn't push it away. You didn't ignore it. You said, come on in, and I'm going to take it and turn it around. And that's what you're doing. And I find so inspiring about your story is that you're being open and honest about it. And you're saying, hey, I'm still living with it, but I'm still choosing to let it become my pearl. And I really honor that about you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. You know, another thing that I look at, and I'm teaching this to my kids, especially during this time of the pandemic and what's going on. My 3 grown sons all lost their jobs the minute the pandemic hit. We're in California. We're just still on lockdown. But the one thing that I always look at in a circumstance, and whether it's, you know, financial, relational, my health, whatever, it's easy to always look at what we cannot do. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do that. I don't have this. I can't do this. I always go, okay, well, let's just, what can I do? Because those are the pieces you can work with. What tools do I have? It's like opening a toolbox. And instead of looking for what's missing, just what's in there, right? Let's say you have to repair something. What do I have in here? I can use this. I can use this. I can use this. So every day I look at myself like my own toolbox. And you know, even when the 3 boys and, you know, going through the suffering, losing their jobs, I'm like, okay, what can we do today? Well, we can use this resource. We can call our network and see who's hiring. We can take a look at what you already have or what you have in savings and know we can go this far. We can do this. Let's triage. And even, you know, something silly as, let's say, out to eat with the family, or, you know, even this takeout menu, because that's what everything has to be now. What can I have? Oh, good, they have avocado on the menu. I can have that. Rather than looking at everything of what I can't have, I purposely laser focus on what I can have. What I can't do today doesn't matter. What can I do? And so I'm constantly making that a habit to say out loud, because there's power in that spoken word. There's power in bringing things to life that way and speaking it. I can do this today. I can do that. I get to do this today. I get to do this today. Mm-hmm. I get to pick up my daughter from school. What a treat. How much are we all going to be saying that when the kids get to go back to school? I have to go get the kids from school. I guarantee there's a lot of families across the world right now that will be able to say, I get to go get my kids from school. What a privilege that was. They got taken away. Everybody right now, I think, understands losing something during this pandemic and having things taken away. What about what we can still do? We can still connect with each other. We can still care for each other. We can still call each other. We can still help our children mitigate through these difficult times. And that really can transform a mindset and become a way of living that can overcome anything that's thrown at us.
Absolutely. And like you were saying, I can, and look to the positive. And I often, when I do my talks, discuss about my miscarriages, and I don't regret them because they were actually the greatest gift for me to lean into my purpose. And, you know, it wasn't my pain anymore. It was my gift. I would never have birthed my book, Heroine, if I didn't experience those losses and unlock my own shackles and help heal other women. And I wouldn't have birthed a program, an infertility and pregnancy loss program and support system called Footprints. I wouldn't be in my business today if it wasn't for those setbacks. So it is my gift. And so do you think that our pain and our hardships are actually our greatest gift that life can bestow upon us?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it doesn't mean we don't look back sometime and go, ooh, ouch. Ooh, ouch. You know, we all have to go to the ouch. I mean, it still hurts. There's still a lot of hurt there. But you're right. I mean, where I'm sitting now as a media coach, as a TV host, getting to do wonderful podcasts like this, getting to share my story in a public forum. I mean, you know, how could that have happened otherwise? Mm-hmm. And awesome. I love when I see an email come in from a colleague or somebody I know that has quoted me on their email signature of "Be contagious, not competitive," or "I get to do this today." I'm like, oh my God, how incredible. It was my pain and hardship. It was my experience that led to that mindset that somebody else is taking it and now applying it to their life. And maybe it'll prevent them from having one of those hardships. That's awesome. Or when they do, they'll have the tools to go through it with a different mindset. And it's exciting when we look at it from that perspective. We don't wish it on anyone, but if we can help them with the tools to go through it better, that would be, I think, a great outcome.
Absolutely. And even your story about your son, that is your greatest gift. And it was a painful process when you were 18 years old. And look what could have happened. And here he is at 29, sharing the stage with you and carrying on your legacy. That is just, we have to turn our perspective. We can't change our problems all the time. So how do we do it? We got to swap out the filter, right? We got to change the perspective and let it work for us instead of against us, right?
And we have to be willing to say, you know what? I'm worth putting in the time to see how this one works out. We get very stuck in the right now and what our story is right this moment without even thinking what this is going to mean for the overall picture 10 years from now. And I got to tell you, there have been some moments when I was standing on a major stage and I'm living my own dream that I pictured since I was 3 years old. Here I'm standing on the stage opening for Trace Adkins, like 30,000 people. I'm like, this is what I pictured as a kid. This is everything I ever wanted, was to have these moments. And they're just moments. They're not our life. They're just moments. It's just a blessed moment. It's a 30-minute show. It's a moment. But when I look over and I see my own son, there was a result of that moment when I was 18, to now stand there and to watch him shining, to watch him having that moment and having that shared experience. You couldn't have told me that all those years before. I wouldn't have believed it, let alone would I have even understood what it would feel like. And I almost feel guilty that I have a moment. I have many moments like that with my child that many people will never know. I feel guilty for the other three that haven't had those moments with me yet. And we don't know what's up ahead. And I just say yet because who knows what moment I'm going to have with the second son or the third son or my daughter, different moments that will be just as equally beautiful. And I'm excited to see what those are up ahead. But right now, the tangible that I can talk about is the one with Ryan. And to stand there and watch him come alive and realize that he was a part of my story just as much as I was. It's powerful.
Wow, that is powerful. And, when you're talking about your singing, and I watched some clips of your amazing voice, and you sing with such depth. And it seems like it's coming from such a passionate place. What takes you to that soul place and allows you to connect with others' hearts? Is it drawing from all those experiences? Like, what takes you there?
Yes, I think I've evolved even more as an artist performing now. The more hardships are there, I think the richer my voice got. Because it is. And again, it's that moment when I'm singing, and whether it's a 2-minute song or a 30-minute set, it's the, oh my God, I get to do this right now. I get to do this right now. I go into this place of like the kid that's waited their whole life to go to Disneyland. And so the whole day they're just like, oh my gosh, I'm here. That's how I feel. What's coming out of me is I have this moment. I have this, 3-minute song, or I have this, 15-minute set, or whatever it is, to share every bit of me to the core with my audience. And something in me comes alive that was just born in me. And I can't explain it. It's just there. And when I get to do it, it's like, bring it on. Here it comes. All right, watch out. I hope you're not sitting in the front row, because you're going to get a whole lot of Amy. Because that's what comes out. It's not just singing a song for me. Any song, whether I'm doing a fun kicking rock song, whether I'm covering Green Day or, 9 Inch Nails, or whether I'm doing an old country song or a jazz song, it doesn't matter. It's like, wow, I get to feel this moment. I get to feel every note. I get to feel every breath. And then I feel grateful that I was given that gift. So many people would be like, oh, I wish I could sing. I would love to sing. I don't know why I was given the gift. I was born with it. I'm thankful for it. And I would never want to take it for granted or squelch it.
Yes. And I think that's where people connect, is that it's coming from your purpose, your passion, and you've tapped into that, where people feel that and get motivated from your motivation. So I think that's wherever our purpose is, wherever our passions are and our giftings are, lean into that, develop it, draw on everything to be the best that you can be in that area, because people will respond. It's magical when you're coming from that place and people connect with you, because it's magic. It's what you're born to do. And you touch people's lives with your singing. I touch people's lives with my speaking, and everybody that's, someone's good at sports, and you touch people's lives when you tap into your own superpower, and that's inspiring, and we need more of that in the world. And could you imagine every man and woman and every child tapping into their own passion and purpose like that, where you see such an influx of people being heroes of their lives? That's inspiring to me.
Oh, can you imagine if people really tap? Most humans don't realize how much is in them. Mm-hmm. We have such incredible brains, abilities, talents in there. I think I would be more sad if I hadn't had the huge highs and the huge lows.
Mm-hmm.
I think that for me, sad would be if I had just kind of lived in a middle. I hate the word safe. A lot of people, I don't know what safe is, and to me that sounds scarier than risk, or scarier than hurting or hardship or great, because my highs are so beautiful, like a moment that's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is a moment that I can feel because I felt such hard lows, or I've had such moments that I've had to pick myself up off the ground, that then when you're standing on something that's beautiful and solid and you're having a moment that's wonderful, there's such joy in that. And I think safe is just, I don't want to use the word boring, but it's just not true living. We are designed to do extraordinary things, each one of us, with what talent. Everybody can figure out, what is my talent? What do I contribute? Somebody might be an incredible caregiver and make a difference to the people that they give care to. And they're changing lives every day with maybe just how they care and touch and help. Look at all our healthcare workers. What incredible skill and talent. I could never do what they do. It's such respect. Such respect. When people really live their true selves and put their giftings out there, as a society, we are better. It's the selfishness or the safety that causes the problem.
Yes, and I often say, like, you're so bang on, because I talk about mediocrity. The world is just totally almost like in a slumber. And Benjamin Franklin said it best when he said most people die at 25 and don't get buried until 75. And he's talking about living a mundane, mediocre life. Don't get comfortable in just, getting by and going through the motions. Live. Yes, it is risk, it is failure, it is downs, it is lows, but the highs are so amazing. But if you live in that comfort zone, if you live in that mediocrity, you're never going to feel the high and what you were destined to be. So let's wake up. And that's part of my mission, is let's draw our swords and breathe fire and wake up and move forward and advance towards our destiny. And you're a product of that. So I'm so excited that we're having this conversation and helping people and ourselves live. And that is my legacy. I have done a lot of blunders. I've made mistakes. I've failed. I have fallen. But my legacy is that I live each and every day to the fullest. And I want that for my daughter to be a legacy, that just go out there and live, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a word that I've taken out, and this has taken a lot of soul searching and reflection for me. I've taken out the word failure. Because what is fail? Who defined what a fail is? Because what looked like a fail maybe 10 years ago is actually what created a success today. Yeah. What is fail? There's not fail. There's just try and try again.
Yeah, and learning lessons.
And learn so that wasn't the right model. This is the right model. There's just try. There's no fail. Because who put an owner's manual on what life is supposed to look like? I mean, throughout history, who had made all the right choices, or everything lined up perfectly? The greatest stories are full of the multiple tries, multiple drafts. I mean, an athlete doesn't get it right the first time out on the field, right? They have to practice. Well, what if what we're doing is they don't call it fail, they just call it practice. But yet in our daily life or in our business or in anything else, we call it failure instantly. Well, what is that? Who said? We don't have to have that word in our vocabulary. I'm like, oh, I'll try that. That didn't work. Oh, that just meant it wasn't supposed to, because it just led me now to the one that will.
Exactly. Not just letting go of this death grip of perfection mentality, and just allow ourselves and give ourselves permission to try. Right?
Yes.
I love how you use the recalculating route analogy in your speaking. I also have a Google Maps point. I always say when we get lost when we're driving, we Google Maps ourselves. So I have a map in my motivational speaking, but you use recalculating route, and I love that. That works very similar in that. Let's discuss this further, and what made you come up with that term?
It makes me giggle because I was thinking about it. I think it came out of my mouth one time, and one of the times that, we had to choose a different path or something didn't work, whatever, I'm like, okay, well, recalculating route. I always love doing voices, but I picture that little navigation voice, recalculating route. When you hear that, when you've there's a detour or something, I'm like, but isn't that life? There's always going to be some road under construction we didn't see coming when we got there. Okay, doesn't mean we're not going to get there. We just got to go around. Recalculating route. That's all it is. And when you say it out loud, and I think that everybody should say it with the navigation voice because it'll make you giggle. And it shows you how simple it is and how funny life is and how life is always moving and evolving and turning. There's always going to be road construction. There's always going to be something that happens, something unforeseen, an accident on the highway. Okay, recalculate the route. Don't just roll over and die. Don't just leave the car on the side of the road and walk away. Just choose a different route. You'll still get there.
We won't.
You don't roll over and die.
No, there is no end route. It just constantly recalculates, like you said. I love that because it's not a fail. If you hit a dead end, it's going to recalculate. It's going to say make a U-turn. It's going to say new route, new road. There's one up ahead, and it'll take you to your path. So you're not going to miss out. Even if what you think is called a mistake, it's not a mistake. It's a learning lesson. Either you win or you learn, right? So either you get there or you learn a really good lesson and you still get there anyways.
Mm-hmm. You're starting weightlifting or starting to work out. Your body hurts like crazy if you haven't done it for a while, right? Mm-hmm. Is that a fail? That's actually the success because it's the muscle building and learning and growing to have the success of building your body and your endurance up.
Yes. And we have to remember when we're so fine with tearing our muscles to build muscle strength. And we think that, yes, that is the process. But we don't always apply that methodology with our soul and our life experiences and strengthening ourselves as a whole, because what happens when you build yourself personal growth is you have to be stretched. You have to tear things. You have to rebuild things and get stronger and stronger. And it's a process, and it is painful, and it's not comfortable. But that's where your strength develops more muscles, more wisdom, more discernment, more understanding, just more grace, more of everything to be a better, bigger person in your life. And so allow yourself to be stretched. And often we feel the pain. We're like, no, that's a sign. Must stop, must take a step back. And we're like, not necessarily. Maybe you're growing. Maybe you're stretching. Allow yourself to get there, but don't quit in between because you'll never know your fullest potential, right?
Right. And remembering that there's seasons for everything. We notice in life there's a season when we're more in, a season when we press out, a season when we strive, a season when we have to stop and learn and get new tools, a season when we apply those new tools, a season when we're out, a season when we're in. If we look over our lives, however old you are at this point, there was always seasons. And when you look at the seasons and realize that they are all a part of what has to happen, just like the seasons that we have in the world. You've got to have the spring in order to have the summer. You have to have the fall. The winter has to happen for the spring to come, right? The same thing with our lives. So if you stop and think, okay, this feels weird. Something's going on. Well, wait a minute. I wonder what season I'm in right now. Ooh, maybe I'm in a growth season. Maybe I need to stop and realize that. Oh, maybe I need to be introspective and study up on this or that or take time or rest. Okay, now I'm in a power season. And when you go into a go season, like, okay, it's go time. I'm going to pursue this, and this, and this, and this, because you're ready for that season because you had the downtime. And if we look at our seasons and work with them, not against them, we will actually have less anxiety while we're in each one of those seasons. Mm-hmm. It can create a more balanced mindset.
Yes. Embrace the seasons. You're not always going to have a harvest, like you said.
No, exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
And so you have a slogan, be contagious, not competitive. I love this because I'm actually a very competitive person by nature, and I didn't always get it right. I competed with other people, with other women. I tried to be the best women and put them down, and I had to learn it's not about being the best heroine and the best woman. It's about supporting each other. And what made this statement resonate with you?
I think it started even with sales. When I started in the mortgage industry in 2001, I was young. I'm in my late 20s, and I'm in Orange County, California, enough said, right? Newport Beach, Costa Mesa, everybody was gorgeous, perfect in a BMW, and I started in my minivan that had car seats in it. And I was like, ooh, okay, I'm going to get eaten alive here. And I just decided, just let myself shine. See how this plays out. Stop and observe. Well, I knew I never wanted to be catty and cutthroat. And I was watching those that were. And I was like, that's not who I am. if I stay true to who I am and I just show people that I care about their transaction, I care about the business I'm doing, I'm going to do this with integrity, and just start being me. It was interesting that women went from being catty around me to actually embracing me. And it actually ended up being women that supported me and gave me the next opportunities and built me up. If I had come out kind of competitive, I think I would have gotten eaten alive. It took me realizing, no, just figure out how I can be a blessing to them. Let them see that I'm not a threat. Let them see that I'm here to learn and grow and help them. And it really, really paid off. And I think in everything else that I've done, even working with the military then as a musician and an artist, most of the work that we did with the military and veterans was behind closed doors, private ceremonies, private events. There wasn't press. I don't have a lot of video or any footage, just pictures from my cell phone at the time. And it was one relationship at a time of them knowing that my heart was there for the right reason. I was there to serve them. I was there to honor them. I was there to be contagious, that they lifted me up. Others will lift you up if they believe in you. We have a tendency to try to fight for our rights or, badger people into, this is who I am, or this is what I'm trying to do. I'm going to win. Maybe just shine from the inside. Show who you are, and people want to help others. They do. There are great people out there that want to lift others up. And as women, we have to. The men are busy being competitive enough. It's fine. They're wired that way. They're hunters. But as women, we are supposed to nurture each other. We are supposed to be a village together. We are supposed to lift each other up. And if we have our walls up and we're being catty or we're sizing each other up, that's not going to get anywhere. And there's still going to be the women that are that way. But when we come together, those of us that say, hey, how can I help you? How can I help you? Guess what? The next thing you know, we're all succeeding. And we all make each other look good. And we're all getting our needs met, because we were being contagious with each other, and that is going to resonate so much more. And it doesn't mean we're never competitive. Like, hey, we're going to do our best, or all right, I'm going to ask for that job. I'm going to ask for that opportunity. But you can ask for it in a way that is still with a certain set of humility and vulnerability, but confidence. There's a difference between confidence and competitive. And you can be confident and still contagious. And when you find that, you're going to set yourself apart.
Absolutely. And like you said, you don't have to be competitive with other people. And that's what I had to learn. And I still have to check myself when that competitive drive comes up. Is I'm not competitive with her or him. I'm competitive with myself. Let myself be the best me I can be, and shift that from other people and just allow myself to be the best. And that means, taking opportunities, leveraging myself, asking for the opportunity, but not trying to push someone else down in the process. It's just about me being the best me, right?
Yes, because there's room for all of us. I mean, there's so many unique talents and gifts, and we're all pursuing something that's a little more of a niche than the other. There's room for all of us. What happens when we build each other up? What happens when we support each other in those journeys?
It takes a village, and we've gotten very, focused on me and self, when it really is a village, and you can't do it alone. And when you hit struggles, you need people, you need your community, you need your circle. And so when you're doing well, somebody else needs the help and the support. And I always say, I support because I know I am supported. I'm going to be part of that chain link, part of that mosaic of beautiful people, talents, and giftings that I don't have, that complement one another. And let's move forward together in unity and not so separated. Let's be, united front and really be a powerhouse of amazing people in this world. And you're part of that. So I appreciate you coming on today and just sharing your story and reiterating the power of unity.
Thank you. It's really incredible to know that you're here to help spread that message as well. That if somebody got some hope or a nugget today from us to say, yeah, you know what, I should try that. I can do this. I can be contagious. I can survive this. Maybe I don't know what the rest of my story is, that what I'm in right now doesn't mean that's where I'm going to be a month from now, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever that looks like. That it's a chapter in the whole book. It might be just a page or a paragraph, but each one of them is a powerful one. And we can still persevere through and have a great story and great moments. Think about the life moments. What are those ones that you just go, oh, I remember that day. That was amazing. Okay, I want more of those moments. We can create those moments in the simplest of things that will literally raise up our energy, raise up, how we feel, raise up our hope, raise up our joy. And then imagine how great it is when it's the big one.
Yes.
We have to find those moments in the everyday in order to appreciate the bigger ones.
For sure. Oh, I love this. I could talk to you forever. You're so amazing. Let's recap what we talked about today. Let's focus on, what is our gift instead of the pain. They are not our tragedies. Rather, they are our victories, and what has propelled us to be resilient and strong in our lives. Our hardships can be the greatest gift in our life that they can bestow upon us. We can turn our sorrow into our song. Amy is such a pillar of strength with her story and all what she's doing with her passion and her purpose and her legacy in life. There are seasons in our lives. Let's focus on that and what I can do, not what I can't. And let's just change our perspective and really get, really focused on what our passions and purpose are in our life and be of service and birth the most amazing, best versions of ourselves. Thank you so much, Amy, for coming on the show and all what you're doing. What is next for you? What are you doing right now? How can people get in touch with you with different motivational speaking or hear you out? How can people get in touch with you?
Well, thank you for asking. So my Facebook page is Amy Scruggs Entertainment. My website is Amy Scruggs Entertainment, either one of those. And my Facebook page, I interact and have stuff on there every day, from tips of the week to just fun sayings. I play some fun music clips and stuff with me and Ryan. I have a sense of humor. You'll see a lot of my stuff on there that I've got a fun sense of humor, and I do celebrity impersonations and a lot of fun stuff on there. I like making people laugh and find joy. And I've just finished up my manuscript, and I'm going to have a book coming out within the next year on lights, camera, action, on people being confident in front of the camera and being their best selves. And so I'm going to start really promoting the book and my media coaching, and I'm just helping people come alive on camera and just be authentic and true, whether it's for a Zoom meeting or, a TV interview or whatever it is in their business or their life, to just start being contagious on camera. And so I'm really having a good time helping people one-on-one and in groups and in any format that they're looking for. So you can see all of that on the website or on the Facebook page. And I answer my messages. If anyone wants to reach out and meet me, I answer my messages, and I'm accessible and really love helping people.
Wonderful. I'll put all those links up when we post this podcast. Thank you so much for all your wealth of knowledge, your honesty, your vulnerability, and just having this great dialogue about pushing through different hardships and letting it become our pearl. So thank you so much, Amy. I appreciate you coming on today.
It was an honor to be with you today. Thank you for all that you're doing to help so many people. What a blessing. Thank you.
Awesome. That's it for this week's episode. Challenge yourself to be vulnerable, lean into those difficulties, and have those open conversations so we can rise up and be the heroes of our lives, and let us breathe fire together. If you want to learn more about my coaching programs, purchase my book, or have me speak at your next event, please visit blaisehunter.com. I do have a free gift for you today. Head to my website, hit the free offers tab. There is a video there. It's called MAPP, M-A-P-P, to help you guide through a day of overwhelm or anxiety. It gets you back to peace and balance. That's my gift for you for listening to Blaise the Trail podcast. And Amy also has a gift for everyone today. She is offering a 1-hour media coaching call over Zoom. So if anyone's interested in that, please email me, Blaise the Trail, B-L-A-I-S-E, the Trail, T-R-A-I-L, @gmail.com with the subject line Contagious. And so email me, blaisethetrail @gmail.com, subject line Contagious, say I want the free media coaching call, and let's get contagious with our business and with our lives. If you've enjoyed this show, please subscribe and support this podcast. Reviews are always welcome and very much appreciated. Thanks for listening. I'm Blaise Hunter.
You've been listening to Blaise the Trail with Blaise Hunter. To learn more about how you can breathe fire and unleash the hero within, or to listen to past episodes, visit blaisehunter.com.